Okay, hi Lindsay.
Hi.
Hello again, and
Hello.
again, thanks for taking your time out of your day to help
No
me
problem.
with this. So today we're going to be talking about an individualized professional development plan.
Okay.
And we're going to be using, to guide some of our conversation here, SMART goals. Are you familiar with SMART goals at all?
Somewhat.
I
Yeah.
was not.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna read off a little bit about what SMART goals are. Or is that okay?
Just to refresh me up.
Refresh you and also continue building mine.
If they're anything like I got the training on SPED, I got a minor in SPED. So if they're anything like that, then I would know. But
I have no clue, quite honestly. I haven't taken SPED law yet, so.
Okay.
So the first one is S is for specific.
Yeah.
So stating specific goals. M stands for measurable, trying to come up with measures for those goals. A stands for achievable. Is this all sounding familiar now? Okay. Goals that we find are within our scope, right? Okay. R is relevant. Okay. And so for this in this case, I think focusing on goals that are either relevant to the district or to your building or to your individual practice as a teacher related to those things. Right. And then T is time bound. So setting up times to build in for check-in and accountability purposes. Okay. Yeah? Okay, so here's a copy of the IPDP, and I thought we could kind of go through, talk about it and kind of fill it out together. Cool. Does that sound all right? Yeah. All right, well, I can kind of fill in some of the top level stuff here that's about information there. So the first box here is our goal for professional growth. And in our pre-conference, the observation, and our post-conference, you had identified behavior management as something that you wanted me to focus on. And then something that I took away as a growth area after the observation was that piece about planning for the differentiated or extension activities, planning to monitor and gather evidence on those as well. So I thought it would be good to identify goals for the IPDP here that were kind of based in those areas. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay, so what do you think about goals for professional growth? How do we state this? We'll go on this journey together.
So for management and extension, right? That's what we're thinking.
Well, does that sound? Does that sound in line?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Based off of what you saw. Okay.
Based off what I saw and kind of what you identified. If you have something else, I mean, I thought your classroom management was really strong, but you know, we're lifelong learners, so there's always improvements that could be made. Yeah,
I just asked you just to get a second opinion.
Yep.
But I feel confident in it. I like now that I'm like thinking of like a goal, probably like the teams for the rigor work. I think that might be a better. I don't know.
Sure.
If that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So teaming in the art room?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. Well, is it okay with you?
Yes.
Then it's okay with me.
Okay.
Yeah. So teaming in the art room, and we're going to try to go through this SMART framework.
Yeah. So the S stands for what again?
Specific. Specific.
So I would specifically like to focus on the teams working well together. What is that called in the rigor?
Conditions for readiness?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So something like focus on developing conditions for readiness and teaming. And, you know, quite honestly, that fits really well into that continued focus on behavior management, I believe. Yeah,
definitely. Because the reason why I want to focus on it is because a lot of my 5th graders, I'm doing teaming for the rest of the year. So a lot of them don't get along together, and it's like, what do I do if they're in a group and they're not working well together? So it's just frustrating. Totally.
Yeah, so important to learn that you don't have to like the people you work with, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So the conditions for readiness and teaming, and then the M stands for manageable.
Measurable.
Mm-hmm.
So for the guidelines here, simple bullets underneath measurable to describe it would be like ways to evaluate the goal,
okay.
Or metrics or data targets.
I feel like I could take data, like, trying to think, like, give them a 1, 2, or 3 on how well they're working together, and walk around the room and give them a score for what I observed them doing on that day.
Okay.
And possibly a goal could be like 50%.
Teaming?
Yeah.
That could also, I think, be something that I could come in and collect data on.
Okay.
If that makes it easier for you, like
sure.
if you're building specific systems, and we can talk about those things as part of the measurables as well. But I'd be happy to come in and do just quick, walkthroughs, and we can build that in as part of the time-bound work.
Okay.
So you think a goal of for the rest of the year, and the focus on developing conditions for readiness and teaming, that one of the measurable things would be 50% of the 5th grade sections are engaged appropriately with teaming activities. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. Now, is that a goal for like every class that you're shooting for? Like every day, or?
Possibly, but I like to focus on 5th grade.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, so every fifth grade class.
Yeah, because I have a hard time with every 5th grade class for some reason. Like, there's different students in each one that struggle.
Yeah.
And we were working on the mural project, and they're just about finished, but like there's some of them where they just didn't want to do anything with their teams, and so then couldn't figure anything else out, so I just let them do their own.
When you think about those kiddos or those students that are struggling in teams, what are the behaviors that you're noticing that they struggle with most?
Talking to each other and like listening to each other. That's a big thing. And then like one of the things I try to work on is telling the team what you're going to do before you do it. And then also I think just like they don't get along with the person that they're working with, so how to work with somebody that you don't necessarily enjoy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I think, and then like the behavior problems that I'm seeing are like refusal to work, wandering around the room, just not following redirections, and just.
Are there, thinking about like the setting the conditions for readiness, are there specific like tools that you could provide for them?
I've been kind of working on it with my learning coach.
Oh, great.
Or the instructional coach. And we've been kind of coming up with certain things. It's just implementing them that I want to work on too. Like, we've done the team roles, and then she helped me kind of come up with some sentence starters that I would like to implement. And then she also helped me come up with a template for them to figure out a plan for each team member to do by the end of the class.
Gotcha.
So there's like certain things that like hold them accountable. Also making sure that they're using all those team roles and stuff. And if they're using them correctly, then it should go smoother. Preferably, hopefully, maybe.
We would hope, right?
And then I'm also thinking about switching up some of their groups.
I think that's a strong idea too. With some of those like sentence stems, for example, this is like a way to build in like accountability speak for one another in respectful
like,
frames. Yeah,
like how to respond to each other if they don't like something, or how to like suggest something nicely.
How to give feedback.
Like, if you don't like something, then what can we do instead? You know, like just those sentence kind of question stems that we developed together that I just don't, I'm still like waiting till we're done with the project to implement it. You know what I mean?
Totally. I wonder then if, in addition to capturing data on the engagement of students, if like monitoring use of that language might be helpful.
I think that'd be, and that's kind of what I was going for.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense, I think. The other thought I had was what are there like ways that you could build in a gradual release with that sort of framework of accountability speak? Like, could you do things whole group, start introducing some of that, give them time to practice, and you know what I mean?
A lot of times when I introduce something new, I do it whole group. I demonstrate it, and then my instructional coach says to give them time to practice with it. So giving them something that's not related to art.
Yeah.
So like when I introduced the teens, I just had them talking about something random, you know, and then I said I'm focusing on facilitators, you know, looking at your job.
Oh, even within those job roles too.
Yeah. And then so she suggested to like have them talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, if we're focusing on specific, I don't like that shape there or whatever, you know, then I feel like it needs to be art related.
Sure. I'm kind of with you there.
Yeah.
I wonder if using just not their own artwork might help.
Yeah, definitely. Just doing like a critique almost.
Yep. Or using the artwork of different 5th grade sections so that it's still like peer work, but
not
maybe
their class.
not. You know, Johnny and Abel disagreeing with each other because they just don't like each other.
Totally.
Great. So I think those are some things that would be easy to capture data on and would give us some solid indicators on growth in those areas. Okay, as far as achievable, so something that's within your scope and possible to accomplish and is sustainable. So now I'm kind of thinking as I look at this that 50% mark
is totally easy, I'm thinking.
Is easy, but maybe also belongs not as a measure, but more as an achievable mark. Okay. Do you think?
Yeah. Well,
that's great to hear you think that. You're like, I'm such an effective educator. 50% will be easy.
Well, I'm just like thinking about the groups that I just had, and I only had 2 groups that finished early. So then that's like 75% of my kids, pretty much, and the rest of them were totally engaged. It's just those 2 groups that I struggled with that rushed through their artwork because they weren't enjoying what they were doing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And the teams weren't functioning very well. So it's like I've already pretty much got that 50%. It's just maybe like 80.
Yeah, let's shoot for 80.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I think that's achievable. Especially with some of those things that you were mentioning, like even switching kids up. So I'll change that fast, and I admire your I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Your self accountability. Yeah. Okay. As far as relevant goes, do these goals make sense with your job function?
Yeah.
Do they, will they improve the flow in your classroom or your ability to be an effective instructor?
Yeah.
I think undoubtedly.
Totally.
Right? Yeah. Especially with and we'll get into this on the alignment here. With Schools for Rigor programming. Yeah. Okay. As far as time goes, what do you think appropriate times to have say for example, all your fifth grade sections introduced to these accountability speak stems or the sentence stems, job roles, or finally productive teaming.
So it just all depends on when they finish their mural projects. Then I'm gonna start their rock band posters.
And this is where you're focusing this stuff on?
For the rock band posters, because they have been working. So the rock band posters, they are working in rock band groups in music, and so then she's like, "Hey, will you do this in art?" And then I realized that the mural project was coming up, and I had to like pause that.
Is this like your 4th year on the mural project?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. And so I had paused the mural project, and I'm going back to the rock band. Or I paused the rock band, started the mural, and now I'm going back to the rock bands.
Great.
And they're getting sick of working with each other every day in music, and I can tell because I gave them a choice to use their rock band groups or their home teams in their classrooms for the mural project, and they chose their rock band groups. So they've been like constantly, but they're constantly working in those other teams. So
and, you know, people have different skills and abilities in different contexts.
Yeah, definitely. And so I feel like I could switch around the rock band groups a little bit if she hasn't already. I need to touch base with her about those. And kind of switch them around because like some of her kids work well for her but not for me.
Yep.
And so I feel like moving those around.
So like as far as this mural goes, do you think like a few weeks you're going to be working on it?
So they're painting and they are almost finished. I think almost every class will be done within the next class periods. So today was day 3, day 1, day 2, day 3 on Monday, and so I'm thinking hopefully Tuesday I would start introducing it next week sometime. Next week or the following week. Yeah, I will introduce the rock band.
Just now realizing that we have like about a month only of school too.
Yes, yes. And the mural project is on the 11th of May. So I'm like freaking out.
I hear you.
But
do you think like within 2 weeks that you will have had time to have introduced the sentence stems?
Yeah.
So that would be like a good time to check back in initially. So like 2 weeks.
Sorry.
No, you're all good.
So yeah, by at least by next Friday I probably will.
Oh, okay. So even sooner, you think?
Just because if they finish it by the end of next class, So let's go with the week after.
I think that would be good too.
May 6th. Hopefully by then
Yeah. Sweet. What time do you have your 5th grade classes?
At the very end of the day, so from 1:25 to 2:20. I think that's the right time.
1:25 to 2:20?
Yeah. Yeah, 1:25 to 2:20 on normal scheduled days. Wednesdays are different.
Awesome. Can I pop back out here at that time?
Yeah. Whatever day works.
You said May 6th?
Sure.
That is perfect for me.
The day 2.
I'll just add you here quick. Awesome. And thinking about how we're coming up against the end of the year, here, for the use of this specific document, I want it to be relevant for you too. Is that something maybe we just want to focus on that right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
For sure.
Okay. Well, let's go on to the next little section here. And that is...
The steps.
Well, alignment with building or district achievement goals.
Yeah.
Where do you see it aligning?
Well, our building goals, we are all as a building working on the rigor teaming. And that's definitely aligned with it.
Yep. Same with the district.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
That's one of the primary LSI competencies that people are focused on. I don't think it needs to be anything other than that.
That's kind of why I was like, okay, steps.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's really clear alignment.
Yep.
Totally. All right, steps. So the first step I heard you mention as we were kind of talking about through the SMART goal here was to introduce the sentence stems. And you're hoping to have that done by the end of next week?
Yep. If it changes, I'll let you know.
Sure. So by and then you're hoping to have students utilizing those in some fashion the following week. Okay. And at that time, I think, if we can just find a couple minutes to talk after the lesson, even if it's like, come help you have dismissal duty or something.
Yeah.
Come help you with that.
It's just bus duty. It takes like 5 minutes.
We can kind of recalibrate from there. So step 3, we'll just kind of take inventory on the 6th.
Okay.
And see where we go from there. And we've already kind of built in our time frames here, so
so we're just gonna focus on those sentence stems or questions on that day, right?
I think so.
Or like, do you think I should introduce the plan template that we have, like for individual roles for the students?
That's a good question. What do you think would be most effective to introduce first?
Either one.
Okay.
I mean, eventually I want to introduce both.
Sure.
But I think either one would be fine.
Okay.
Okay, let's stick to that then.
Stick to that one?
Sorry.
You're quite all right.
I didn't know if you want me to do both or what. But
what I want you to do is what you think is going to be achievable according to our SMART goals. So this is a pretty quick turnaround in my estimation. I mean, we're not working with a full year here, so
right.
We kind of got the time frame worked out here already. As far as the evaluation goes, so what are the indicators that will be used to document accomplishment of the goals, including products, artifacts, and documentation, and implementation and student results. So I think we've kind of already built in a lot of that.
Inventory.
Yep. So the inventory of student use. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Of student use, language. One of the documents artifacts would just be the actual sentence stems that you're using. Like, how are you planning to put those into the hands of students or make them accessible in the room? Would be those actual sentence stems. And the documentation of the participation is really, and the implementation is really the walkthrough here. And so after you have those put together, do you want to send those to me so that I can ahead of time? Yeah. Or do you have a copy of them?
I have them right now.
That would be fantastic, because then when I come in, I'll know exactly what I am listening for.
Yeah.
And even if it's just like I can come and document individuals who are using them and then total use, I think would be a good place to start. Excuse me. And that will be the documentation. Yeah, that'll be a great baseline.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go into this annual review here, though. If previous coursework is any indication, that may be the next video we get to make together,
Okay.
Lindsay.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I think
That's it?
I think so.
Okay.
How do you feel about the plan here?
Comfortable.
You're comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's
'Cause
achievable.
it's something that I was kind of already
Good.
wanting to focus on, so it is, yes.
I have the reminder for May 6th. Is there anything else I can help with now or in between then? Or
Not that I can
Okay.
think of.
Okay.
Maybe just feedback on the sentence starters.
Sure.
Or the questions that
Yep.
possibly, if I can find them.
All right. Well, I guess I will see you again on May 6th then.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks.